Dirt Smart. Tips and techniques for irrigation technicians, helping you save time and money. Pump Station PM Manifold Checks. In this video, Ron DeLong of Eastern Irrigation and Pump Company gives us his insights of what he checks for during a contracted preventative maintenance visit. Information contained in this video shall in no way be construed that you or anyone on your staff is encouraged, authorized, or approved to carry out any action shown. The information discussed in this video is meant to be performed by qualified, professionally trained, experienced, and in some cases licensed individuals. High voltage will kill you. You do not get a second chance. Topics discussed in this video: check valves, relief valve, flow meter inspection, flow meter calibration, gauges, ports, transducer, manifold rust inspection, and filters and strainers.
I will check. First of all, I check there's there's check valves on each pump. When the system is not running but pressurized, you can kind of listen to hear if there's water going back through there. That could be, if your PM pump is cycling a lot, that could be one of the causes. In addition to maybe a head leaking on the course, you might have a check valve leaking. That's something that's really easily repaired. Or not repaired, but replaced. You just loosen that up, drop a new check valve in, and you're good to go. But that happens a lot. It's just a brass part in there, and if there's water going through, if there's any debris that gets in there, that water sneaking through will cut into the brass, and it won't be repairable. You just have to replace it. I'm going to close the valve to the irrigation system. We're going to run the pumps just in the station to check the relief valve and adjust packing if necessary. Okay, closing the discharge valve. This one's nice, has a nice wheel on it. Sometimes you just have a dome. Okay, now we're going to turn on each pump and we're going to run it through the VFD. Manual through the VFD. We're not going to turn them on full speed. We're going to control it with this, what's called a speed pot. We're going to control it with that. I'm going to increase the RPMs, and I'm going to see what point the relief valve is going to open up. So we'll start with pump 1. So I'll put it in manual, and there is a VFD select switch that's used in manual operation. Right now I have it pointed to number 1, so if I turn number 1 on, it'll start very slow, and I'll be able to control it with speed pump. If I turn 2 or 3 on, those will come on full speed. So if you're going to ever do any testing or anything like that, you want to make sure if you're going to use the VFD speed pot, you have it pointed to the number of the pump you want to turn on. And I'm going to increase the speed. As I increase the speed, the RPM number changes. Now my pressure is increasing. So you can hear the relief valve opening up. Sometimes we like to set it a little higher than the normal standard is 15 pounds is where the high pressure safety is. Sometimes with that pilot valve on the relief, it starts to weep a little bit You know, when it gets up to like 10 pounds over, it'll start to leak a little bit. You'll hear a lot of dripping in the wet well. We have the drive, which is adjusting the pressure, so it's okay on certain cases to have it set a little bit high. We like to pull the flow sensor and make sure it's in good shape. A lot of times there's a moving wheel on the bottom. It's in the flow of water. You pull it out and make sure it's still in good shape. A lot of times it can, depending on the water quality, it can build up with mud. I've seen it already where it doesn't move. It's not moving at all. We're not getting any flow on the reading on the door. We pull it out and it's like caked in mud. And then also it's on a little axle, I guess you would say, the little wheel that's on there, and sometimes the thing just wears out. So we like to pull that, inspect it, make sure it's in good shape, and then put it back in. A few things that we also do, part of the PM contract, like a flow meter calibration. Depending on what area you live in, there's certain, I know New Jersey was like every couple of years you needed documentation to submit that says my meter's calibrated. We offer that. We come in with what's called a signal generator. We hook it up. We run a frequency, and it gives us a flow signal, and a certain frequency will give you X gallons per minute. So we can compare that and make sure that it's accurate. And then we give the documentation to the golf course and submit it. Yeah. So, and also when we're doing testing, I may have covered this before, especially like a full flow test out on the course. You know, so many times we'll get a call. It's like, I ran the same program last year, and this year it's not. I'm getting low discharge faults. When you consistently do, every year you do flow tests, you do pump testing, you kind of get a heads up, hey, something's going on with my pump. You know, and then the superintendent could go to whoever's, writing the check saying, hey, it's not going to be very long. I got to adjust my program because this pump is not performing the way it should. I need to get it replaced, repaired, whatever. Let's do it over the winter. If you're one of these courses where you have the door closed and you never come in here, all of a sudden one day your program's not running, and then you're coming in here and you don't know what's going on, and now you're down a pump or you're down 2 pumps. And so it's always good to have knowledge. These gauges, the small tubes. This little 1/2-inch port feeds the gauge. More importantly, this small tube, which runs to a pressure transducer, that's what the panel sees. When it's running the station, you need to have a pressure reading, so the pump station knows what to do. If there's, I've seen it already. I've taken the gauge, everything off, and that port is completely clogged, and you're not getting accurate readings. When we do our PMs, one of the things I like to do at least once during the season is drain the whole system. First of all, inspect the pipes for rust. For example, this is a stainless steel. This was installed after. It's not original. What had happened was it either rusted on the bottom or whatever chemical injections they put into the system ate away at the bottom of the pipe. So in order to fix the problem, we put stainless steel pipe in. The water sits in the bottom of the pipe over the winter. It flakes. It starts to create cavities in the pipe, and eventually, I've seen it where it'll start creating a pinhole leak, There's a lot of times when we can come in and patch a small spot. But like on this, they have an injection system, irrigation. It's good to have stainless because that can, increase the likely of holes in the steel. We're gonna like to go through all the steel, especially at the bottom, check it out, make sure there's nothing dripping, and if there is, then we make plans to either patch it or replace it. This station has a Y strainer. There's a lot of stations that have a valve, an electric valve, where after a certain amount of time it can be set up on a timer if you're watering a program. After 30 minutes or 45 minutes or however long, it's programmable, where it will open up and flush the Y strainer. This one, they just open manually whenever they get in the air, just to flush out that string. And something maybe over, if it hasn't been opened and checked in a while, maybe that's something, a winter project where, we'll come in and pull the screen out, check it, make sure it's good, clean it up, put it back in so they're ready for the spring.
Dirt Smart. Tips and techniques for irrigation technicians, helping you save time and money.